Smooth, are you fucking ready?
What,
Are you
bro?
fucking ready for this fucking butter cut?
For this butter cut. Listen, I mean,
about to get the butter cut.
just look at me. I think
Butter
I'm ready.
cut!
Just look at me. I think I'm ready. I'm scruffy than a bitch.
Scruffy than a bitch. Bro, look at this, John. Cinematic mode on the reverse, John. Cinematic mode on the reverse. Shit.
First day, well, second day back now.
Second day back.
Nobody knows I'm here.
Nobody. Just us.
Nobody knows. My mom know and these motherfuckers. That's it.
We about to give him the butter cut. Alright, so we got Smoothiano in the chair. He is back from Australia. He was out there making music, and now he is back in the States, so I got to bless him with his first cut back. And to start the cut off, I'm just separating the side hairs from the top. I'm making sure it's as straight as possible without pushing that line further into the top of his head, seeing that he's had this haircut for a while. And I'm taking my 2-guard then, and I'm gonna level out the sides, going all the way around the sides, making sure it's all smooth and to the length I want it, which is the 2, with my wall or Babyliss guard. Babyliss and wall use the same guard, so this is the 2 wall guard. I then just clean up some curls that are hanging over the side, and I continue to lay down the foundation, which is the side length. Number 2 with the wall guard. Now we did cut some off of the top, but not much, just a little trim, and we knocked some of the curls that were hanging off of the edge over top, which would cover his fade. After we leveled the sides down and trimmed up the top, I then start my first guideline with my Babyliss FX trimmers, and seeing that he's getting a mid skin fade with a light drop in the back around the nape area, I made sure to set my skin line tight. I got it very bald up to that line, and I just made sure it has a nice little arc going around both of his ears, aiming down towards the back bottom of the nape of the head. I then take my masters and set in my second guideline. First guideline is the skin, second guideline is the fade section or blur section, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it my blur section. I only did that section just around the nape for right now because I wanted to basically determine where the fade section was going to be around the largest zone of the head, which is the back. You know, I normally split the back of the head into 2 sections. So this time I set in that half guideline and debulked the top line. As you know, the formula I use, it leaves you with 2 lines, and you can see it here on the side. I'm left with my 2 lines to fade out, the line that goes into the skin and that line going through the middle of the fade, separating my foundation and that blur section that fades into the skin. Remember, I used a wall 2-guard to level down the sides. The Andis 2-guard cuts slightly lower, so that's why I debulked that by really flicking into my foundation. The 1 and the 2-guard with the Andis Masters basically debulked and faded that entire line going around the back and the side of the head, right in the middle of my fade. The only line I have left to fade now is my skin line. So as you see, I use my wall because they cut a little closer, starting with them open and working down, working closed. As you hit this bottom line here, you should have that wall completely closed and be flicking that bottom line, and then open it up, give it a little extra flick right above it. For the back of the nape in this entire blur section, you can see I use my Andis 0-guard then, and I rotate between the Andis 0-guard and removing the 0-guard and keeping my clipper all the way open. That's how I really get that blur section faded and blurry as possible. I'm doing this all the way through that bottom fade section, all the way across the side of his head, the same way I did it around the back of the nape. I'm just repeating the same steps as I would all the way around the fade, flicking at first with my lever all the way down, fully open, flicking in that section that I created with the masters, that fade section, just to lighten it up, and then I'm going to slowly notch it down closer and closer to closed until I'm at the very bottom of that section. These guidelines, these sections are all made to make your job easier, so you know exactly where you're at all times in the fade. You know when you're in the blur section and what zone of the head, whether it's the side or the back nape or the other side. Anywhere in the fade you're at, you'll always know where you're at because you have your sections set up how I showed you. Now we have this clean fade, and I'm doing the C cup with my Babyliss trimmers. I'm, as always, starting my C cup off one side and the next, and I connect the dots. Determine how wide you want your sideburns to be. In this cut, it's a mid skin fade, so the sideburns are really tight. So I'm more so focused on that little arc going into the sidebar. Once the C cup's established on that side, I'm going to just spin them around and finish the other side of the fade. As you see with my Andis Masters, set in that blur guideline. Then, seeing that I already set in the foundation, I have 2 lines to get out, one on the bottom, one in the middle. I immediately start attacking the middle line with my 1 guard, and I'm working that going back towards the nape and then working my way back to the front, attacking that bottom line with my walls. Even in everything I do with from where I start to where I end on the fade, I started in the front on this side. I started in the front of the fade, worked my way back, fading the top line out, switched clippers, and worked my way back forward, getting the bottom line out. So everything I do, I try to make it work for me as most efficiently as possible. See, now I'm just left with a little bit of detail all the way through the middle of the fade, a little bit of detail through the middle. I'm just going to clean up with my masters because I've said in other videos, I like doing my detail work with the masters because they have a crunch to it. You can hear the clippers cut. There's no guessing with not hearing the sound as if I was using a wall clipper. Now you can see the back nape. The fact that I faded the back first, it shows on this fade. You can see the back nape, that fade, the gradient going around the nape, to me is perfect. I'm very, very happy that this is a successful fade in my book. Mainly because that the back, I believe it's easy to get the side of a fade, like the fade on the side of someone's head. It's easy to get that looking good and blurry and the gradient looking smooth, but to really bring the fade around the back of the nape with that drop fade, that's challenging. So with this video, I really hope I helped you guys break it down as simple as possible, and I hope that you can see how I get the detail in the back of that fade, of the drop fade. Now that that whole side's faded, I'm gonna just continue to shape up the sides and the front. I've done a couple shape up videos, so I'm not gonna get super into this, but per usual, any shape up, I do my C cups first. Then I start my initial lines in the center of the forehead and my corners for my boxes, and I basically determine where my sidebars are going to be, set that all in with my trimmers, hit it a little bit with my razor, and then I add my enhancements. After I add my enhancements, you'll see me go through with my trimmers and my straight razor again, just to tighten up the lines. But this is why, as you see me shaping him up, I'm shaping him up very naturally. I don't push things back. I don't make harsh lines just to get them straight on the first tap. I really do it naturally and slower than some barbers, but I feel like I get the most natural and successfully straight lines without pushing someone back. And I've been told by a lot of my clients that the grow back of their haircut always satisfies them more when they get cut by me, because the grow back isn't as intense with the little stubbles that they get when their hair grows back. That's an automatic sign of a pushback. So when I shape up, I'm doing it all very naturally, applying my enhancements, and then I get it razor sharp, just like you're seeing right now. With the hairline, I took that down with the 2 guard. I just brushed it down with the 2, so it's a little bit darker than the sides. As you can see here, I'm just detailing it with my 1.5 guard on my Babyliss clippers. These are another custom pair that I got from Babyliss, and I'm just lightening up right through the middle foundation of the hair. As I told you guys in the beginning, I used a 2 to set this foundation on the sides. So right through the middle, the 1.5 guard is just perfect for feathering any little detail that I see, splitting any grains between any dark portions of the gradient, and the 1.5 is just really tightening it up right there. As you can see, razor sharp hairline, enhanced a little bit so them lines are nice and crisp. You can really see the lines, but when he washes these enhancements out, the lines will still be sharp naturally. Trimmed up a little bit of his curls so they're nice and neat. Put a little bit of curl product in there to make them not look so dry. And now I'm just cleaning it up with my trimmers and taking my final videos, my final shots. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please throw me a subscribe and share this to a friend. I'm gonna do a video soon on a lot of this terminology. I want you guys to be really getting used to the terms I use, like splitting grains, gradients, all types of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. And hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Motherfucking buttercuts.
Oh, man. Can't beat it, man.
Buttercuts. What's that sound in the back of the shirt?
Viviani on my body got me feeling godly.
Yeah.
And I got little shawty in the party trying to fuck somebody.